Xpedition North Star Edition. We're going to do an install on this and show you how it's done. Let's get into it. I'll just loosen these. I'll pull this down, exposing these rubber grommets, or rubber straps. Allow you to take the hood off. Exposing the underbelly. Next, you're going to get a 10mm and take this off right here. Just take up all these bolts right here so we can get this, open up the compartment underneath the ride command. What I want to do is take out these 2 push pins, and this panel should come up. Just like that. Exposing these 2 push pins, which you take out. Just remove these 2 push pins. You can push it from the back too. And you should be able to tilt the ride command forward and lift it out. And we're not going to undo the connections. We're just going to kind of leave it here for right now, but we'll be able to work with it out. There's a couple locations where you can mount the radio. They wanted it on the passenger side, so there's a spot right down here. It'll fit right up inside here just like that on the passenger side. I suggested right here, just underneath the ignition. Put it right up inside there. That's kind of where I suggested it, but he's pretty tall and he was afraid he was going to bump it with his knee. So the other place you could probably do it is maybe side mount it on the side or on this side, but he wanted it right here, so that's where I'm going to put it. Again, make sure when you go inside this thing, you know, I felt up inside there, there's no wires up inside there. You definitely don't want to get into some wires. Coax, we need to get back behind. We'll drill a hole through and then run behind this and go up this pillar. We're going to have to loosen the headliner a little bit so we can follow the headliner back and then go back out towards the back. Just FYI, that's a these bigger ones are T40s in the front. These ones towards the back that are smaller. See, there it is right there. Those are T30s. Now right here, there's 2 T30s right inside there. Loosen this T40 just to give me a little bit more room so I can wire fish. So I put a wire chase through here, through the ride command through. You can kind of pop these 2 push pins right here. Lift up on this guy a little bit to see inside there. I put it right down there. So now I'm going to connect my coax, and I loom everything. I'm just going to take my coax to my wire chase and pull it through there, and then I can actually reach down into this corner where the radio is going to go, and we'll drill a 3/4 inch hole to get this this PL259 connector through. We'll drill it up inside there so we can get through. So yeah, quick wire chase to get it through. There we go. I've loosened both of the roof bolts on this passenger side here. They're 40, Torx 40s up there, but there's a little gasket. See if I can see the gasket up inside there. There's the gasket up there. It's really thick, so I'm not worried about that pinching the wire. But this roof is really tight right here. So I've just got my socket kind of jammed in there to hold it for right now. But I'm going to actually take some of these cable managers, and I'm just going to stick it right one on each side to keep it from pinching the wire, because these are a little bit taller than my cable. Back there. Just reach up inside here and stick it in. You can see them up inside there. I got one on each side. Kind of holding up with my thumbs. Now this will be down. Now it's not pinching that wire as tight as it was before. Now I can put the bolts back on. And my antenna mount, I'm just gonna screw it right to here like that. And before you screw it, make sure you do your antenna test. And there'll be a separate video for the antenna test. Antenna test, I just tighten this just about a quarter of a turn. Remember, this is brass versus steel, so you don't want to be breaking the brass. So just about an eighth to a quarter turn tight is all you need for that. Before you finish mounting this, before you mount it at all, put any holes, do that antenna test. Like I said, move it back and forth. It's easiest if you have an extra person or another radio, and listen for that popping sound that you'll see on that other video. Doesn't have to be super tight. Just you got to be careful when you drill that there is some pipes and wires back there, so make sure you drill in the right spot. There's one pretty close to there, but I was able to get the step bit in there and drill my 3/4 inch holes. And just for reference, I'm using a 10-foot coax, but it's very, very tight. Below your tray is your power wire. You don't need the cigarette lighter part, so we're going to cut that off. Before you put the bracket in, be smarter than me. Drill your extra 3/8 hole for your power. I was able to get it in there, but it's a little bit more difficult with the bracket in place. But I didn't want to take it off with the stickies and stuff like that on there. And then the jumper wire, you just feed that through the same coax hole, because you only need the larger space to get that coax through. But I do loom both the jumper wire and the coax, and then I will loom the power wire as well. But since the power wire cigarette lighter is being cut off, it's easy to slip through that little hole right there. So I clean this surface up pretty good. And what you're going to do is you're going to want to take the edge of this and mate it up with that, and this gives you enough room, because you got to remember you got that coax in the back and the jumper wire as well as the power wire, so you gotta have some room in the back. When I measured it, if you line this plate up just right on the edge of that plastic right there, it works out really good. I'm just going to center it between those two push pins. If you take those backs of the stickies on and press and hold, it'll kind of hold that in place so you can put the tap screws through. The bracket's held in place. We give you some of these really thin tap screws. I'm just going to put 4 of them in there, just like that. And just make sure, like I felt my hand, I was able to go down the ride command hole and feel that there's nothing there. Just make sure there's nothing there when you're tapping. Those screws are pretty thin. The only problem with having it in a location like this is you got to use a socket wrench to get the radio screws on, because there's not a lot of room there to get a screwdriver in. You could probably get a stub unit on this side, but this side you're probably going to need to use the wrench. When you put those screws in, you don't have to put them in very tight. If you're using a socket wrench, just make them snug. So these little screws right here are little 7mm. So again, because I don't have enough room to get a screwdriver on here, I got to use a little ratchet. But do not over tighten these things. It does not take a lot to strip them out. So just hand tighten them to get as far as you can. Choke up on that bit. Basically, I'm just touching the very top of my ratchet to put them in, and I'm not tightening them hardly at all. And leave yourself enough room for your jumper wire in the back. It's got a little bit of slack. You don't want that so tight that as this thing's vibrating, that it's vibrating out. A lot going on underneath the dash, so I'm just going to poke the wire fish through here, just like that. I'm going to find it on the other side to pull my radio power wire and the jumper wire through. And here it is on the other side right there. So I'm just going to wire fish my jumper or my power wire for the radio, and the jumper wire. So the power wire for the radio is a little bit short, so we give you an extra 2 feet. That extra 2 feet should get you there if you mount it right this location or mount it over on this location, that extra 2 feet of wire. And we'll get you some extra butt connectors too. Radio wire pulled. You're gonna have the black, so the black goes to the 5-wago with all the other blacks. And this red one will go with the blue with the 3-wago or the 3-lever nut. Pull up on that lever nut, it'll allow you to insert the wire. Just like that, and then you just flip this thing down and give it a little tug. See how it's tight now? And then you do the same thing with the black wire. So you can get it to focus here. Yep, plug holes on it, it's nice and tight. And this one you can just flip down too, but that's an extra one for an extra ground if you need it. Expedition, we include a pulse plug, so you just pop one of these guys out, lift up on that and it pulls out. And then you can just put the plug back in. Snaps in just like that. Plug, there's going to be an extra red wire. That's a constant hot. That typically comes dipped, but I like to put a little extra electric tape around it to plug it off, because that's a constant hot and you don't want that touching anything, the metal. It'll arc and probably blow a fuse. If you want this to be constant hot, you could swap this yellow wire with this red wire on this 2-wago and it'll leave it constant hot. But our radio has a parasitic draw, so I always like to do the key on, just in case you forget to turn off the radio and the intercom. It doesn't run your battery dead. Fun part, we're going to put the rocker in this switch panel right here. So if you reach behind, you'll pop this out. And we're just going to clean this surface really good and then pull the sticky back off of the back of the rocker switch and then stick it in there. And you just press and hold for about 30 seconds. And again, I loom everything because I just like that extra protection. We ride in really tough, rough conditions, and you just never know when you're going to have something rubbing, and you just want to have that extra protection there. So I'm just going to peel off this red sticky right here and press it on for 30 seconds. That wire, you see up inside here, there's a little spot that you can connect to the zip tie. I've just got about that much hanging down. That way they can grab onto it. And I got another zip tie right there around that bolt. You see up inside there. And then I did the 2 T30s to pull this panel apart. And then I ran my wire fish down through here. It's coming out here. So I'm going to fish it up underneath, again through the rod command, through the grommet, it's right there, and over to the intercom. And I'll do that for both sides. I actually should have fished the other side with my coax wire, but I didn't do it at the same time. So I'd recommend doing the coax wire, fishing the coax wire and the headset wire at the same time. Don't leave this loose right here. I'm going to go button it up underneath there on that pipe. You can see right up in there. I'm going to zip tie it up tight so it's not in the way of the steering wheel. And the reminder, when you put this back in there, there's that knob there for the screw. Make sure the headset wire's on this side of it. Same with the one at the bottom. You can see right there, it's over it right now. There, you want it like that when you push it back together. Here's the passenger. You know, hindsight's always 20/20. I should have ran my coax and my headset cord together in a 1/2 inch loom instead of 2 3/8. It would have looked better. And then it just same thing. There's a zip tie there, another zip tie there, and it just hangs down right here. And then the coax continues to the back. So you could have gone straight from the intercom through here, down through this little opening right here. Had a little bit of wire showing to go drill through there, and then they have the flush mount headset jacks right there. If you want to get into these panels, there's a lot of bolts and stuff like that to open these panels up if you want to go clear up underneath the tunnel, or you could pop the belly pan off and go from the belly pan and come back up. And here's what the headset jacks look like. Now for the push-to-talk wire, I'm going to actually put the push-to-talk in that rocker switch right there. Your 1/2-inch hole. I just drilled through there. Now, put the backer nut on. Just like that. Wire through. Just going to clip it to this. Now I'm going to put some tape around that so that connection doesn't come loose. Then I'll just plug it in. Mounting the intercom. I'm putting it under the dash, and I'm putting it so the face is forward, so therefore, like, to help kind of protect the back. So those are where the ports are. And then what I'm doing is actually there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these nubs here. On the second nub, if you line up this with the second nub right here, it fits nice like that, and then the roof, then the hood can come all the way down. If you try to put it over more, the hood dents down and it hits the top of this, but the hood will come like right here, and it'll come down just nice and tight. So you got to have it lined up about right there, and then that'll give it a place for a screw right there. You see the screw right down there that you can put a screw in. Hand up inside there and check and make sure there's no wires or nothing like that. Especially if you got extra accessories and stuff like that, make sure that you don't have anything extra. And before I mount it, we give you this little red sticky. If you cut it in half, you can put half of it on the bottom side of here and or a little piece over there. It kind of holds it in place while you use the tap screws to tack it down. Just make sure you clean this surface really well. So turn your torque way down. You don't want to strip out these screws. You just want them snug. Pulling all these wires, it's good to mark up. This is just a 2-seater, so I just marked the headset one with this blue tape. But if you have 4, I would, put like a 1 on the blue tape, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4. You can just plug them in and do trial and error, trying to find out which one it is. But if you're pulling them, it's just pretty much easier to mark them before. So headset 1 goes into headset 1, headset 2 goes into headset 2, and then headset 3, if you had it, would go there. Headset 4. This is this jumper wire secret sauce cord we pulled earlier. This is your push-to-talk wire. And then this is your rocker wire. So don't be plugging your headset wires or PTTs into here. So make sure you mark the rocker one. I've actually loomed it all the way to the end, so that's how I knew this is my rocker switch wire. So you don't want to be firing that up with the other thing connected to it, because there's a circuit board that goes to this and a circuit board that goes to this. So to put back in these dust plugs to cover up these extra holes since we're not using them. Note that this is up here. You don't want to come into water that's over your hood, because you'll inundate the intercom. And now it can take weather resistance and stuff like that, but it can't take inundation. So don't go under water that's deeper than your hood. You don't want to flood your intercom. Install, just slide that in, put your 2 push pins in. Put your tray on. push pins in, and then put your clip in. Make sure these have got slots in there so you can get it just right so the handle matches up. So make sure you get that right too. Last thing you need to do is take your hand mic out of the bag and this fuse that came with it and put it in this bag that we send with you. We call this the glove compartment bag. You don't need the mic. Don't plug the mic in because it introduces more noise if you've got the headsets. Word of advice, don't forget to put your quick reference card around your keys so you can quickly reference what all the menus mean on your encoder.